Okay, we'll start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll have our approval of our previous board minutes from our March 16th meeting. I need a motion for that, please.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gibbons. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Next, we have approval of travel for Amy Bettinger Wells, our town clerk, for April 25th to April 27th for the New York State Town Clerk Conference in Albany. I need a motion for that, please.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Montroy. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay, approval of our sidewalk contract with Central Paving. What do we gotta do with that, John?
Just gotta get a vote. We drafted a contract for you, we've attached it. And John, you'll end up signing this and it'll be sent over to the contractor to execute, and then we'll be in business with it.
Okay, we're all set with them then.
As far as I know, I mean, we were waiting to get this contract put together.
Okay, so I need a motion for that, please. Motion by Mr. Montroy, second by Mr. Gibbons. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay, Parks Department employees, Chris Lowe, full-time rec supervisor, annual salary starting April 7th of $40,000. Approve of the returning staff, John Becker at $16 an hour, start date to be determined. I think that's like 2028. That's really my dad, so. Returning staff, Chris Hale, $15 an hour, start date to be determined on that. They are summer staff. So, need a motion for that. Is there anything else, Lori, on that? I see Lori. Where was she? No? I'm good? Okay. Need a motion for that, please?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gibbons. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
And I'll abstain. Okay, highway superintendents for a speed study on Hitchcock Point Road. Motion for that, please.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second. Second by Mr. Montroy. Is there any discussion?
Andy, yeah, I was gonna say, can I hear what you're up to?
So, I've had a couple calls on Hitchcock Point Road for speed limit changes. Well, I dug into the history and there's never ever been a speed study on that road.
Really?
So I thought that was a little bit odd. So the
Yeah.
speed limit is 55, which I thought was a little bit high for that stretch, and especially with Harbor Town and all the construction. So I figured it wouldn't hurt to just go ahead and do a speed study.
Okay.
If you guys approve of that, that'd be great.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, approve the bid opening April 20th for the fuel tank project. The only thing is in there, John, in that contract, we'd like to have it completed by August 31st, to kind of move our payment date out.
August 31st.
Yep, we got a lot of
Right.
we got a lot of balls in the air right now, so.
Okay, I'll make that change.
I talked to Amy about it, Jess.
Okay.
Okay, so we need a motion for that, please.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second. Second by Mr. Montroy. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye. Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay, advertise for bids for lawn care for our cemeteries on the North Road, New Boston Road, and Smith Ridge Road. We do this every year, put it out to bid. I need a motion, and the bid should be opened probably our next meeting, 2 weeks. So what is that?
April 20th.
20th?
20.
Is that enough time? You get-
Same.
You get the usual
Right,
work,
yeah.
yeah.
So need a motion for that, please.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gibbons. Is there any discussion?
Hey,
Yes, sir.
So on that lawn bid, I think there was a little confusion last year on the way it was bid out. I think originally the people that bid on it thought that everything would be bid together.
Oh, all of them together?
Yes, and then when the bid came in, it was broke out individually, and I know personally the person that got North Road, they really got the short end of the stick, because they were kind of figuring everything lumped together. So when you took the lowest bid for each one and separated them, it didn't go well for, I know, at least one person.
Do you have
So-
that contract with you, John?
No, well, you guys usually have it all set up from prior.
Do we have that, Beth, our old one?
Yeah, we usually grab the old one out.
Alright, we'll just lump them all together, it's gonna be a one.
Or clarify you're gonna do it either way, just so it's fair, clear on how we bid.
Do you want it done as a lump? As a
Yeah,
one
we
bid
might
for
just,
all
well,
of the
and,
properties?
you know, see, what we had before is some of the neighbors used to bid on them and do them.
Yes.
They just take a couple bucks to do them, but now the neighbors are getting old and they're not doing it anymore,
Right.
so.
Insurance.
Huh?
Insurance.
We never worry about that, we're saving their dollars.
Don't say that in front of me.
Yeah.
It's a different day now, so.
It's a different day.
Yep. Okay, so we'll, lump them all together and it'll be a one bid for everything. We got a motion, we did get a motion, Joe, no?
John, Jeff did, and
Okay.
Dan.
Jeff and-
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, approval for hiring, B&L to update our comprehensive plan. I'd like to modify that contract, Alex, so I wanna take a look at that. There's some things in there, that, we had Transpro do pre-COVID. They did a couple of, community surveys, remember we did that, community surveys, Transpro and everything. So there's a lot of this information is done, it just needs to be put in, collated and put into the comprehensive plan. So we'll work on that and we'll have something then, try to iron something out for our next meeting, okay? Very good. Okay, set a date for the residents to vote on proposed Whitelaw water. I talked to one of the residents, Art, and I think what we're gonna do is Art's gonna take around a petition to folks in the district and see if he can get 50% of the people to sign the petition and over 50% of the assessed value, and then
We'll put the petition together.
yep, and then you won't have
But
to worry
you know
about
my
it.
number, right? You just call me, we'll coordinate it. And I'll walk you through what you gotta do.
So we appreciate that very much, Art. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yep. So that works for that. Our MS4, proposal for, Barton Judas for, paving, he sent that over to us. What was there on that, Beth, that we talked about?
$3,200, and we're just gonna change the wording a little bit, just to make sure the bills are,
Oh, yes, that's right. So, the verbiage in this should be, be sent in, okay, invoices, for their services will be sent. I want, hard copy, mailed monthly in proportion to the scope and service completed the data invoice. We, this is a contract we do every year with them. They do our MS4 stuff because we're in an MS4 stormwater area. Is that okay with you guys, Alex? Yeah. Alright, so we'll just change the verbiage, I'll initial it and sign it. Is that okay with you guys? Okay. Okay. Alright, so I need a motion to accept that. Motion by Mr. Montroy, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Martin, is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, budget modification. Transferring $91,889 from AA 1990.4 contingent to AA 5132.4860 machinery charge. This transfer is needed to pay for the fuel tank located at the highway department. And we approved that contract earlier, it will be August 31st. I need a motion for this budget modification.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second by Mr. Gibbons. Is there any discussion? Okay, Mr. Gibbons. Aye. Mr. Martin,
Aye.
Mr. Montroy.
Aye.
I'm an aye, carried. Okay. Firefighter applications, I don't believe we have any of them. Let's see, I do have a couple other things. On Whitelaw Water, when we did our Zoom meeting, last Monday, we had 9 participants, 2 of which were from the town of Lennox.
Yeah.
So, didn't know that, we couldn't tell from being on the Zoom call. So, we'll remember that for next time. I'd like to get a request for qualifications on dredging project on the east side of Canasarega Creek, down at the lake, what is that bay? Lakeport Bay, they call it. It's starting to fill in, and people can't get their boats in there, and I've been asked by some of the neighbors to see if we can find some grant money to get that project done. So, I'd like to put out a request for qualifications from engineering firms to put in, and see what their qualifications are for dredging, and we'll go from there.
We've got you on the pass.
Never dredged it. Nope. I don't think they've ever done anything with that.
Like how far would you go and where would you cut out?
Well, that's the thing, we got it, what this would do is it would put out qualifications for the engineers, and then they'd have to come back, once we pick that engineering firm, they gotta come back with a scope of work. You know, how far they would go out, all that kind of thing. How much
Just
material
directly
they
right
take
out in front, because you're certain one to the east.
to the east. Cause that's the prevailing wind, and when that creek shoves all that silt and everything out there, that fills it all in. I've got pictures of, Canasarega, it's a huge plume on a rain event, big rain event, just mud.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah, you're from down there. So can we, put out a request for qualifications on that, please? Need a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Montroy, second by Mr. Martin. Is there any discussion? And we should have them back, let's have them back by the first meeting in, May. Enough time, you think, Jeff?
Yeah, how are we gonna prepare those in terms of the technical part of the RFQ itself? You wanna go generic, or how do you want to?
Yeah, let's go with generic.
What was
See
the
what
date?
they send back on,
Yeah.
cause, you know, I don't know what you guys do. You have a dredging outfit or?
I
what
don't
is
have
that?
any experience in dredging. I'm not sure if other folks in the office though.
So you're permitting, you probably have permitting
Yeah,
people that would know
permitting.
about that.
Like
Yeah,
that,
permitting
but-
department, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the date you were looking for?
May, the first meeting in May,
May 4th.
was that May 4th?
I'll see if I can find just a generic RFQ
Okay.
that we can plug
Yep.
stuff in.
Okay, all in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
All
Who
opposed?
was the first and second on that one?
Montroy and Martin.
Thanks, okay.
Okay, Bridgeport extension for sewers, I'd like to get going on that. Got the map plan report here. The materials department, would you just send over for us? There's 315 units, I think is what there is. You wanna send a flyer out to all the people, starting on the project 2022, ending of the project will be 2026. This project's already up to 16 million, isn't it? That's about what we're at
Right around there.
already. So for 300 and some units, we're already to the cost of what it was for 700 units when we did Bridgeport. So that's the cost of inflation. So we want to send that out and get a date on when we're going to have a couple of informational meetings for everybody, and that we will definitely have people vote on.
And Sylvan Beach gonna have capacity for that by the time we get there.
Yeah, their upgrade will be done 25, I think is what they're talking about. So, and actually, Mike Sales, who's their village administrator, sent me an email a couple weeks ago on some information, and Ken from Bartlett Judas has it, and he's requested a little more information from Dodson and Associates, who are the beaches engineers. That's a project. We had our construction meeting last week with Highlander, and they're gonna get started on Hamilton, Brown, Bushnell Shore Road. I think that they're gonna start stacking pipe. Did they start stacking pipe already, Andy, down there?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're gonna be moving along when the weather gets better here. I called around sent a letter out for the grants for the, air packs for the fire departments. It's up to $735,000 for those air packs now. Yeah. The state's doing their budget. The budget's gonna be late. This budget has gone from, I think 2018, it was about $185 billion to, they're looking at around $230 billion and change this year. They're still negotiating on distressed hospitals. That's $250,000 taken from the taxpayers' pockets here in Madison County to give to distressed hospitals, and it goes on in every county. They take sales tax. The state is taking sales tax and giving it to these hospitals, and I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right, because we're a home rule state, and the sales tax is an agreement between the state and the locals to split, and now the state is taking that and using it in other ways. So I'm not sure how that's gonna shake out. What else we have here? They are gonna pick up the AIM, aid to municipalities, which the counties, they cut out our aid to municipalities to the towns, and they said that the counties had to pick that up 2 years ago. It was Mr. Cuomo, and now the state's gonna put the AIM back in, and so the county will get that money back. And I think it's almost $100,000 for just us here in the town. So
92.6.
92 cents. So, yep. You're gonna lose design build. That's going. So they're negotiating on that now, and they don't think it's gonna make it. So that's gonna leave. So there's all kinds of things going on down there. Who knows what's all. Along with that, I had a talk with our superintendent of schools, Mike Eef, and for Mr. Gibbons and Mr. Montroy. Last year, he came over and made a presentation to us about social worker at the school, and now we'd like 2. And I talked to the county yesterday, and they're gonna try to, they can build some, but she didn't plan on doing 2. So if she does 2, they're not gonna pay for the whole thing for 2. So one was, I think, around $60,000. We're gonna put the bill out of our nation money, like we do the SROs, and now Mike's asking for 2. So he'd like to get, he wants to cut us a deal, so he's looking for $100,000 instead of $120,000. So I think we stick with the original plan with 1 and see how it goes.
Okay, I thought it was 85 for 3 years.
Is that what we said?
Yeah, I think we
I
were
thought it
talking,
was 60.
no, it was 85 for 3 years,
So he's up to 100.
okay?
For 2.
For 2.
Yes.
For 2 people.
Yeah, for 2.
And but are we split, I don't know what, you've talked to Mike about what?
Well, what we said, they'll pick up the rest. He'll pick up the rest. He was asking if the county could pick up the rest. The county, I talked to Mark and to Tisha, who was our public health, or our mental health director. They can't pick up the rest because all the other schools are not getting 2. They're getting 1. Yeah, so that's their own fault. They could have.
Some didn't apply.
Right, some didn't apply.
Some didn't take the due diligence to apply for the.
Well, and they were called too.
Yeah.
Some of them that were called said, no, we're gonna pass on this. So,
Which makes no sense.
right. And this goes along with what I put together down at the county for the mental health task force, it kind of fits in with this. You know, we got kids in trouble, we got regular people that are in trouble. There's COVID, and the environment that we're in today, and mental health are things we don't really have a good grasp on or understand, so I think it's money well spent. But, you know, again, it's coming out of our portion of our nation money, so you guys gotta decide what you wanna do.
Well, we talked about the 85, I don't know if you wanna apply that if you get to.
Well,
How
if
much
we
are
get two, he'll take 100 for the two, and I assume he's picking up the rest of the tab.
That's what I want.
That was the idea.
That was the idea, okay, yeah, alright.
You could help us with two or another school with two, because it is a big issue.
Yeah.
A big issue.
You know, and I'll tell the story. I got one supervisor that got on board a couple of years ago and he was coming down to the county, and he was gonna give these people over at DSS a lesson on spending all kinds of money and wasting money on welfare and this and that and the other thing. Well, I happened to nicely pick him and put him on the Health and Human Services Committee, and after a year, those people walk down water over at DSS. The things that they see every day and have to deal with every day, and the situations that they get into, it's one job I would never want to do.
Well, so, John, if we just commit to the 85 toward it, which we kind of agreed to.
Yeah.
If he gets one or two.
Well, that's one. You know, he's looking for the other 50.
No, I understand, but can't we just apply the 85 to the two and then?
That's not what he's looking for. He's looking for 100 for the two.
Look for help in a second.
Gotcha.
When?
Be for next school year.
What's the timeline in the county for getting these things like that?
She's lining it up right now.
There.
She's trying to line it up now. Yeah, for the next school year. You know, because what Mike I don't think understands is that if they're going to be county employees, they got to go through civil service and they got to go through personnel and all that kind of thing. I know that he's interviewed 4 or 5 people and got a few people in the queue, but they still got to make it through the county.
Civil service and all.
Yeah, they got to make it through the county rigor. So.
I'm not sure if he's aware of that or not.
Yeah, can we crank in some more numbers with him, John? I mean,
Well, I think he wants to take it to you guys before you do your budget, right?
Be helpful, but, I mean, it's. We don't propose the budget. We want to have, second year, so it's kind of.
15 for the second one. You get the bargain.
I say do it.
The need
Yes.
is there. I mean, we looked at our budget, it's gonna be, have our tax increase alone. Not like you guys, of course, not like this here, but that's almost impossible, but it's been a bigger problem in the school than it has been in the past. There's much more going on with these young kids.
So we're gonna do 100,000 from the town out of our host community money at the county level.
No, well, no, that's at the town level.
Oh, that isn't.
But what happens is, when they go to cut the check in the fall, they'll deduct that from
Okay.
our community.
So
those
we
communities.
just won't see the
So it'd
money.
be, what's our SRO, 62?
So is that, yeah, no, our SROs, we paid for 2 of them, and they're running about 62 to 65.
Yeah,
we
so
paid
now
2
we're gonna
years
cut a
from
check
that.
to the
This is on
school for
top of that?
165.
Okay, that's
This
what,
is on
I
top
wanna
of
make
that
sure it's
now?
clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so you're, you know. Yeah,
This
they-
was a 3-year agreement.
3-year trial thing, yes.
Okay.
Do you have time to think about it?
That needs to
Or you
clearly
just
be
need an answer
spelled out. Well, if we're gonna pay 85 for one, I'd say you might as well pay the 100 for 2. And we already agreed to 1.
So you just have to do stricter budgets then, because you're not gonna have any extra play, you know, out there.
I know that they've approached us on a couple other things. I'd say this has gotta be it. Okay, Arnold.
No, it would go a long way with the community.
Yeah.
Parents are, looking for help for the kids, and it would make a big impact on the whole situation for
actually do it. What's the host, what do we usually get from the host?
We're slated for 860, and then we gotta cut the village in,
Yeah.
and then we cut the SROs in, and now we're cutting the DSS worker in. So, you know, that was swung for the town of Sullivan, to get the town of Sullivan ahead and help out with one-time things that we had here, which has worked out great for highway and paying off our buildings and all that kind of stuff. You know, we can't be the big fish that gets ate up by the little fish.
No, but this is a great
Well,
time
we-
to help.
Yeah, you already agreed on one at
So we did.
85, so
That's
what's
it.
15 at this
If
point?
they're looking for 170, you might be a different story.
Right.
But for 50,000, give the extra person, I think that's what Mike was looking for.
Alright, well, then I would move we do 100 out of that contingency fund for the next 3 years and get 2 social workers.
Okay.
For the county. I'll make that motion.
All right, Mr. Martins made the motion,
I'll
second
second it.
by Mr. Montroy. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye. Anybody opposed?
I'll probably abstain.
You're right, you're right.
Thanks, Jim.
We all gotta work together. It's coming out of the same pocket. We all gotta work together, but we gotta remember that we have things too here. Does anybody out there have anything for us? Yes, sir, Art.
A question on Madison County, is there some talk about changing the apportionment of votes by township?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, we're gonna go. When I got there, we had 288. Then in the last census, we went down to 280. So now I go back up to 288 again. But the problem is, Georgetown. They're missing 600 people in Georgetown, and the census obviously isn't right because in Georgetown you would know if there were 600 people missing. In Georgetown. So. They went from like 26 votes down to 18. I mean, it's almost not worth showing up with that few of votes. And Lennox went from 188 to 198, I think. So he picked up, Hamilton picked up some. So I don't know whether they didn't calculate right. I think the census was wrong in Georgetown. We're appealing that right now. But yeah, they want to reapportion all the votes, and I asked the attorney yesterday, what happens if we don't, if we shoot that down, whether we just keep the way that it was, we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. It's called, the way that they portion the votes out is called the bonds-off theory. And it's a formula from a professor in Hamilton at Colgate University, and theoretically, if you went proportion your population of votes, we wind up with about 340 votes. But because Town of Sullivan has so much power, they curve us. So that's the way it goes.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything? No? Alex, you have anything for us?
Just a quick update on Sleepy Hollow Water. We're working, construction's starting back up right now. They're hoping to start up the pump station. They did some of the electrical work in the pump station building in the last week or so. So hoping to start up within the next week and then have water services installed within the next month and approved from New York State and Madison County Health Department with that.
So they got to flush and chlorinate.
Correct. Not the main's already been pressure tested, but they'll have to chlorinate the water and get secret approval from New York State and Madison County Health Department once those samples come back from the lab.
Will they be good? Okay.
Well, they're gonna be better than their samples that they took out of the well for the past year, I'll tell you that much.
This project needs to go away and get done, and that's
Correct.
We've been very good to that district. Does anybody else have anything? Alex, you got anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, do you guys feel like going through, the building fees recommendations? You wanna put that off to the morning meeting?
Yeah, I think remember John wanted to.
yeah.
Well, you left it for me.
Oh, he did?
He can,
He did? Oh,
he can explain it much better.
I'd rather
But
have
you wanna,
You have John,
look.
makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah. The LCO sent all their flyers out, I don't know who gets that. Concert lined up for Chapman Park is, July 11th is the Fab Cats, July 18th is Thunder Canyon, July 25th is Princess Polka Band, August 1st is TJ Sacco. And Earth Day is April 22nd, and the entire week of April 18th and continue through Saturday, April 23rd, they'll do their cleanup around. Andy and the Highway Department went down there and cleaned off the bridge, which was a big help to them. And the Highways Department will again provide a haul-away vehicle, a dumpster at the fire station number 1. In the back parking lot, bring your filled bags and toss them in the dumpster if you can. And it says, if you can't, please call the numbers 315-633-0130. I'll leave a description where you need to have them picked up. And it says in bold letters, please folks, resist the urge to clean your own personal property and do not abuse the good intentions of the highway department. No dumping of tires or electronics. Please leave neatly outside the dumpster. Now that I've announced that and they've gotten it all in the mail, there'll still be a few, won't there?
Well, unfortunately, we don't do it in Lakeport anymore. We just do the Bridgeport location.
So,
The dumpster is gonna be there all week, whereas before we just did it for the weekend.
Yeah.
But really, they weren't getting much action down there.
Really?
Yeah, surprisingly.
well, good.
But I'm gonna send our crew out at least one day and help do some cleanup, something different.
Night of Lake Association's annual meeting is April 27th. They're going to have that at the Millard Block Elementary School in Central Square. And that's about it for their flyers. Okay, I don't have anything for executive session. You guys? No? Okay, does anybody else have anything out there? Okay, motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second.
Second.